Hey, 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 and welcome to one more episode of RevivalFlix, where we try to find some old classic movies so we can review them again with today's perspective and maybe find something interesting to watch nowadays since, modern productions are not being so good anymore. I mean, there are some here and there, but I think the volume for sure decreased of good, worth watching movies. So yeah, let's get into it. This one is from 2002, so I would consider this a mist. so this movie was actually very well spoken about in lesser known festivals like Cannes and so on. I remember specifically in Cannes that it was kind of like a highlight back in the day. I used to kind of see what follow what was going on and so on. And I remember a lot of people, like talking about this film, and the festivals also was, kind of like a big thing. But anyway, I tried to watch this movie like also a while back, but I remember that the beginning is kind of slow, so I used to fall asleep, so I couldn't really watch it. But I mean, this week, I was like thinking about relaxing, like in the middle of the week and so on. I was thinking about, oh, let me put in on a movie, like to relax and so on. I remember that this one made me fall asleep quickly and so on, so I put on the movie. However, that was not the case, definitely not the case. And yeah, let's get into it slowly. It did win a couple of awards. So it won Best Film in the Stockholm International Film Festival and Best Foreign Language Film in San Diego Film Critics Society Awards. I mean, again, lesser known, but also I would say important. But it did get nominated for a bunch of also probably in those categories: foreign film and best film, and maybe even best director. But we'll get into him. In IMDb, it has actually a good rating, like 7.3. I consider that very good. And then I went and researched a bit of the directors, like the also the characters, the actors that were playing, and so on. So the director, I for sure familiar with him. However, I can guarantee that I will watch a couple of his films. So because they are also very well. I mean, he doesn't have like a steady record of well rated films in IMDb, but I also don't give that so much of a value. But there were like three of them that I think it had like a high rating that I will watch a couple of them for sure. If it's worth, maybe I'll even make a review video about one of them for sure. One of them is going to come out as a review. So the director is Gaspar Noé. It seems that he's Argentinian, and Argentina does has a good tradition on filmmaking. It does also uh, provides good directors. But anyway, there was one film of his which is called I Stand Alone from 1998. This is probably the one that I'm going to watch first because it was before he did this one. This one is again from 2002, right? So I Stand Alone, IMDb rating 7.3. And then he doesn't, as I mentioned, he doesn't have like a steady uh, high rating films. I mean, just related to IMDb rating, which is like popular rating. But anyway, um, he did like after Irreversible, he did like a bunch of movies that it wasn't as high of a rating. But then there was 2018 a film called Climax 6.9. I don't consider that a bad rating. I'm not sure if I'm gonna watch this one. It's gonna depend on the other ones that I watch. And then there are like some interesting films that the name is actually cool, like Enter the Void 7.2 2009. This one I'm probably gonna watch. So this one was about 5 years, right, or maybe 7 years after Irreversible. Have high expectations of this film. The cover also looks looks cool. Yeah, so probably I'm gonna watch I Stand Alone and Enter the Void. But if anyone wants to suggest any other films of his, if anyone is familiar with his work, especially if you watch the film that you really liked, but IMDb rating is low, please leave on the comments. Those are I think it's kind of like the best findings, right? Okay, cool. So let's go to the next person that I thought he put out in the film. Actually, the two actors, which are kind of like the main actors. So it's Vincent Cassel and Monica Bellucci. So Monica Bellucci, as soon as I saw her, it was a kind of like a familiar face, and I found that odd because it's like a French production. So I went into her filmography, and well, it's no wonder why she is a familiar face. So she played in Matrix Reloaded, Matrix Revolutions. So I could see her in those films. I don't remember exactly her characters, but I'm gonna really take a wild guess here that maybe she was the girlfriend from that blonde dude in the nightclub. I don't remember his character name anymore, but anyway, probably you all know who I'm talking about. Then she played actually in the new. I mean, she did a bunch of roles, a bunch of films that I'm not familiar with, but she did play in the new Beetlejuice, which I didn't watch it yet. I didn't even know that he had already launched last year, 2024. I'm for sure gonna watch that. And also Passion of Christ. I don't remember her in Passion of Christ, but I could see her in some disciples over there, and I don't know. But anyway, yeah, so that was Monica Bellucci. She has a very solid career internationally and so on. On this film, she was good, but I wouldn't say like she was marvelous. I would say, like good actress. I would say, right? But since like the extent of her career, for sure she did some very good movies along the way. But let's get into the actor that, in my opinion, really stood out, which was Vincent Carcel. Not sure that if that's how it's pronounced, but anyway, in my opinion, he was really like over the top here. He was uh, he was in another level from the in comparison with the other actors in the movie. I mean, all of the actors. I none of them caught my attention on being like uh, a low performance actor, but this one was kind of like in another stage. Very good, very good. Then I also checked out his filmography. I mean, most of the films I'm not familiar with, but he does already have an international career, so yeah, and that's no wonder also uh, because of such a fine actor he is. But two of them I was familiar with, which was Jason Bourne and Black Swan. He did a lot of animations also. That was funny, maybe because of his accent. but the actually the downside, I mean the sad note here is that most of the films that he's been into didn't have such a high rating in IMDb. Most of them were like 5 and 6 and so on. But I mean that doesn't say so much about his acting. Just maybe he wasn't lucky enough, to be in a very solid production film, or a high end production. But anyway, in my opinion, he stood really out on this film. All right, so let's get into the review about the movie itself. So it's a backward movie. I mean, that's not new, right? A bunch of movies. Not a bunch of movies, but quite a few movies have been made that way. The one that I remember the most, it's Memento, Amnesia. I think it's also known by Amnesia, which is a Chris Nolan movie, probably the first Nolan movie I had watched. And I mean, what can I say about this movie? This is a reference for screenwriting, right? Memento. If you haven't seen that, you got to stop this video now and go watch it. For sure, it's like I would say it's even a kind of like a lesson on filmmaking. But yeah, I love this movie so much. But anyway, I couldn't really think of other movies that were done like, I mean, we can think of movies that they start from the end. That's very common, especially in European style movies. But I couldn't remember much movies that were done like kind of like backwards going, you know, as Irreversible is and as Memento is. So I had to do a quick a quick prompt on the LLM, and it did come up like a bunch of movies that I never heard about. So there was Happy End, 1967, Betrayal, 1983, Two Friends, 1986, Peppermint Candy, 1999, 5 by 2, 2004, and Shimmer Lake, 2017. For sure, I'm gonna watch Happy End. Check out what that's like, especially since it says here it's a black comedy. Yeah, I'm gonna watch this. If it's any good, I'll for sure post a video about it. The other ones I'm gonna research a bit, you know, in IMDb and so on, because I mean I'm gonna start with Happy End because it's such a while back, right? 1967, and one of the main topics for this channel is to try to analyze, you know, like classic and old movies and so on. So this is for sure in my list, top priority. Maybe even this week, and I'll watch it. The other ones, I'll do a bit of research, and if anyone stands out, I'll probably watch it. Also, I like this kind of films, and yeah. So well, just a quick comparison. I mean, these films are not comparable in my opinion. Like Memento is one type of film, and Irreversible is another type of film. The only thing that they share in common is the backward storytelling, right, aspect of it. But anyway, what do you expect from a backward storytelling film? Maybe, you know, like the plot, you know, changes, you know, as you go along and so on, because you know it's like um, it's showing, you know, the facts like in a backwards mode. So you expect like the plot to be like complicated and well elaborated and so on, you know, like Memento is. I mean, of course Memento is a Chris Nolan film, so you couldn't expect nothing other than that. But for this film that's not the case. Just making that clear. So this doesn't have like a elaborated plot and so on. No, no, it doesn't. It's like a linear plot, you know. But adds what the aspect of telling it backwards, a story like this adds, you know, to it is again the emotions that you have that changes, you know, like in Memento, for example, you get intrigued, you know, like by the mystery, you know, of what happens there, you know, like you you kind of like suspect about the characters and so on, you know. Here on this film is like straightforward. You already know, you know, what to expect from the characters, you know. You know who the good guys are, the bad guys are. In Memento it's kind of like shady, you know. Things change a lot there. That's why it's so cool. But anyway, just making that clear, you know, like this film is not like crazy plot. It's not that at all. But what the aspect of going backwards does is this. I mean, I really hadn't. Yeah, I mean, I could think about other films that I had the emotion, you know, like changing between in the middle of the film, related to the characters and so on. But this one is different. This one I would say is different, you know. So that's why I think it. This I mean, it doesn't make sense in life for you to, you know, like tell stories, you know, just to tell them backwards, just, you know, like because it's cool, you know. If it doesn't add value to the piece, you know, I don't think it's worth doing it. But this one, I think it makes sense. I mean, it does add like a layer of analysis that you need to do while you're watching the film, you know. So that's why I think it was a well implemented aspect of it. About the film itself, one word comes to mind. watching it. As I mentioned initially, I wanted to watch this, like just relaxing, lay back, and so on, and try, like to put my mood, to sleep and so on. I mean, the really, like the first, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes. It is kind of slow, a bit of dialogue there, which of course is like a backwards movie. You don't know what's happening there, but as soon as the action comes into place, like maybe after 10, 15 minutes and so on, uh, I I mean, you can sense it's gonna be like a very disturbing movie. It's a very disturbing movie. So in the second, I would say in the second scene or third scene already, you can sense that it has like great camera work, that hectic camera work. Also, nothing new there, but it's difficult to do a camera work as this film has done, and other films also did, but with that hectic, like loosely filmed, camera work, it's really hard because sometimes you don't understand what's going on. Uh, this particular film in about 3 or 4 scenes, it has this kind of style of camera work, but differently from other films that I've seen. This one you can actually understand what's going on, even though the atmosphere, it's very like dark, and it's supposed to be dark and so on. It's supposed to be kind of like almost creepy, but you do get to understand what's going on there, and it does add a lot of value to actually like the intensity of what's happening there and so on. So these would be like the two highlights that I would say initially, and also also it's kind of like a movie where your emotions and your judgment about the characters in them, and they it starts to change as you discover why that happened earlier and why that happened earlier. I mean, not earlier, but earlier in the movie, in the timeline, but later actually in the actions, so it's very interesting how that all transforms, and you change your perspective so many times, so initially you're not understanding why certain certain things are happening, especially violence, a lot of violence, and you think, what kind of violence is this, so you start to wonder. Oh, no, I mean, since it's a backward movie, you kind of guess what's what's coming. Like, oh, okay, so he must have done something very bad and so on. But actually, you have no idea what he has done. You have no idea. I mean, you can sense. Okay, so he did something bad. Maybe he deserves what he's getting and so on. It's a violence movie. It has some very shocking scenes, I would say, especially in the beginning and so on. But later on, you kind of like uh, you kind of like redirect or reinterpret your feelings, your emotions, your judgment, and so on. That part is kind of cool in the film. So uh, as the film goes like backwards, right? So it comes earlier in the scene. So so you kind of like change your perception. That was one of the coolest, I would say, aspects about this film. I mean, the acting is great, you know. The violence. If you're not into violent movies, don't watch this. This is like more violent than a Tarantino movie. This is like it gets into your gut, So if you don't like, if you're really bothered with this type of scenes, don't even come close to this movie. This is a violent movie, and I'd say not only like the traditional violence that we're accustomed with, but also a more sensitive violence, which I'm not gonna give a lot of details here, but take this as a warning. If you have any kind of like sensitivity issues, don't watch this movie. This don't especially don't watch, like as a couple, like try to watch a movie, maybe a romantic movie. Don't watch it. Don't watch it. Don't watch it. Please don't watch it. But okay, so we have like a violent beginning. Then in the middle, we also have like some violence there and so on, and then it gets like smoother. The film gets smoother and so on, and then it's where you really kind of like think back, in the beginning of the film and everything that happened and so on. So that kind of like moves you a bit. So yeah, so again, reiterating this type of like changing your emotions throughout the films. This is what caught me the most here in this film, and this is why I think it's worth watching. Unless you're kind of like a sensitive person and don't like, like these type of violent films, don't watch it. Otherwise, this is for sure a movie that you need to watch. I mean, it was well crafted, well constructed. It's difficult to make a movie that goes backwards and it still kind of like follows everything that happens and so on, and it still be attached to the characters and to the movie and to the plot and so on. I mean, the plot is not like so sophisticated as Memento is. It's kind of like almost linear for a backwards movie. That's even weird to say, but it's kind of like a simple linear plot, but it was very well directed. I mean, again, Vincent Cassel is amazing in this film, um, and yeah, also slightly touches on some philosophical subjects that are trending right now. I thought that was actually very cool because I mean 2002 it touches on a as soon as you especially when you it gets towards the end of the movie, then you're gonna notice what I'm talking about. Also, I'm not gonna give spoilers here, but anyway, it touches on a philosophical subject that is trending very highly right now. If you guys can get after you anyone watches the movie, and if you can guess, leave a comment here also. That would be fun. Like just like to guess what I'm talking about here, and especially especially that at that time at 2002, that wasn't a thing. There were some movies that touched on this philosophical issue that I'm talking about, but it was like very rare. Nowadays, it's like YouTube is like infested with videos about this theory or this hypothesis. So yeah, leave me a comment if you can guess what it is, and yeah, I totally recommend this movie. I would rate this I did rate it as an 8 in IMDb, and yeah, I think it stands out. I mean, it stands so much out that I'm gonna watch some of the other movies the director has done. So yeah, yeah, I recommend it. Well, that's it for this one, and I hope you enjoyed, and I hope I hope I convinced you to watch this this violent movie. But again, iterating again, please try to do some videos about old movies, your favorite old movies, and so on. We got a lot to cover here. I want to like maybe simulate people creating their own channels is not so hard. You just gotta spend maybe I don't know a day or two setting everything up. Creating a logo, especially with AI right now. You just you just put your concept in and you ask whatever LLM you're using to create a logo for you. Put everything over there. Ask like to make a description about your main idea, and get on with it. Get on with it, and just talk. Just talk. From your heart and so on. And I mean, for movie fans, what's better than like talking about movies and so on. Convincing other people to watch movies. It's fun. It's fun. Please, yeah, create your own channel. And if you do create your own channel, with one or two movies, just post it here in the comments. I hope it even convinced me to watch it. So yeah, that's the whole goal here is like to get more people engaged on old movies, classic movies, and try to persuade younger generations, to watch what we already watched, and to give also value with that. All right. See you in the next one. Bye bye.